5,000 ships, 38 species, one target. The Galactic Coalition invasion fleet hung in Earth's orbit, like a very aggressive neighborhood watch. Fleet Commander Zekthor stood on his flagship's bridge, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. He was insectoid, 8 feet of chitinous authority wrapped in ceremonial armor that had seen 200 successful planetary conquests. This would be 201. Broadcast the standard surrender demand, he ordered. His communications officer complied. The message had worked on every primitive species they'd encountered. Surrender now. Join the coalition peacefully. Avoid unpleasantness. Earth's response came 30 seconds later. Not a government official. Not a military commander. A pre-recorded message. It opened with a woman's voice, calm, almost cheerful. "Hi, you've reached Earth. We tried peace. Didn't work out." Zekthor's mandibles froze mid-click. "Is this sarcasm?" he asked. His aide, a younger insectoid with less impressive armor, checked the translation matrices. "I believe so, sir. Or possibly a threat. The linguistic analysis is unclear." A threat? From a species with no warships? They'd done their research. Humans had satellites, space stations, some asteroid mining operations. Nothing military. Nothing that could challenge even one coalition vessel, let alone 5,000. The recording continued. "You wanted to see what humans do when cornered. Congratulations." A pause. Long enough that several officers shifted uncomfortably. "You're about to find out." The broadcast ended. Silence on the bridge. Then every human military installation on Earth went dark. Completely dark. Radio silence, power signatures gone. Every military base, every defense platform, every encrypted communication channel just stopped. "What just happened?" Zekthor demanded. His sensor officer, a crystalline being whose species specialized in detection technology, stared at his displays. "Sir, I'm not detecting any human military activity." "They powered down?" "They're gone, sir." "Gone? Where did they go?" The sensor officer's crystalline structure flickered with confusion. "I don't know." Zekthor's tactical officer spoke up. Vresh was reptilian, female, and had survived enough battles to develop a healthy sense of paranoia. "Sir, this feels wrong." "Wrong how?" "They issued a threat, then disappeared. That's not surrender behavior." "They're primitives trying to intimidate us," Zekthor said. "Probably hiding in bunkers. Prepare for planetary bombardment." "Sir." "That's an order." The fleet began positioning. Standard protocol. Overwhelming force. Make them understand resistance was futile. Coalition doctrine required one more surrender offer. Professional courtesy. Look good in the historical records. "Broadcast to Earth," Zekthor commanded. "You have 10 minutes to respond or face annihilation." They waited. 9 minutes passed. Nothing. Weapons charged. Targeting. Solutions locked. 5,000 ships ready to turn Earth's surface into glass. 9 minutes, 30 seconds. Still nothing. Officers exchanging glances. This wasn't normal. Most species started begging around minute 5. 9 minutes, 50 seconds. Vresh leaned forward. "Sir, if they don't respond..." 9 minutes, 59 seconds. Earth responded. Not a broadcast, not a transmission, a text message. Appeared simultaneously on every ship's main display. 5 words. "Bold of you to assume we're still on Earth." "What does that..." Zekthor started. His navigation officer interrupted. "Sir, I'm experiencing system glitches." "Define glitches." "My instruments are displaying inconsistent data. Course corrections aren't..." Communications officer. "Sir, I've lost contact with the 3rd Squadron." "Lost contact how?" "Their comms just dropped. I'm trying to..." She paused. "Sir, I'm now experiencing intermittent..." Every screen on the bridge flickered. Once, twice. Stabilized. Zekthor's weapons officer spoke, voice tight with concern. "Sir, my targeting systems are showing random failures." "Run diagnostics." "I am, sir." The diagnostic keeps telling me to restart my console. Then restart it. I've tried. It won't respond. It just keeps displaying, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" Vresh stood. "Sir, something's in our network." "Impossible. Our firewalls are impenetrable. Coalition security protocols are—" A voice interrupted. Human voice. Coming through their communications system. Casual. Almost amused. "We're—" Past tense. Every officer on the bridge spun toward the comm station. The human voice continued. "Impenetrable was the right word. About 30 seconds ago. Now? Not so much." "Who is this?" Zekthor demanded. "This is Earth. Returning your call. Sorry for the hold time." "You've infiltrated our systems." "Infiltrated is such an aggressive word. We prefer accessed without permission for educational purposes." Across the fleet, reports started flooding in. Ship after ship experiencing the same problems. One vessel reported their gravity systems failing. Crew members floating, screaming, trying to grab anything bolted down. Another ship's navigation suddenly redirected them toward their sister ship. Collision avoided by meters. A third ship's lights started strobing. Bridge crew developing instant headaches. And the music. Every ship's internal speakers, maximum volume, playing something the translation matrix labeled as Earth Cultural Audio. Subcategory, annoying. "Shut it down!" Zekthor roared. His chief engineer, a multi-armed crustacean whose species had designed half the Coalition's technology, worked frantically. "Sir, I can't. The code is replicating faster than I can isolate it." "Then cut primary power." "That won't help. It's embedded in the backup systems, the tertiary systems, the—" He paused, staring at his screen. "Sir, the malware just sent me a message." "What does it say?" The engineer's translator struggled with the Earth idiom. "It says, 'LOL get wrecked, noob.'" "What does that mean?" "I have no idea, sir." The human voice came back over comms, definitely amused now. "Oh, this? This is the warning shot." Vresh gripped her console. "Warning shot? What's the actual attack?" "You'll know when you see it. Hint, look behind you." Every ship in the fleet pivoted their rear cameras, pointed them at Earth's moon. The moon wasn't there. Well, something was there. But it wasn't the moon. Where Earth's satellite should have been sat a massive structure. Geometric, artificial, covered in weapons ports that were very clearly powered up and pointed directly at the fleet. Zekthor's voice came out as a whisper. "What is that?" The human voice, cheerful as ever. "Surprise! We hollowed out the moon 3 years ago. Started construction 5 years before that. You were warned, by the way. We sent a message when you entered our solar system. It said humans tried peace. This is the other part." An officer, species Zekthor didn't recognize, spoke up from a different ship. "Sir, that structure is the size of our moon. How did they build something that massive without you noticing?" The human interrupted. "Because you were looking for warships, traditional military vessels, orbital platforms. We didn't build any of those. We built a Death Star." "A what?" Zekthor demanded. "Cultural reference. You wouldn't get it. Point is, that's 200 mass drivers, 50 particle beams, and about 30 other weapon systems we invented specifically for you. All aimed at your fleet, all charged, all waiting for my command." Vresh checked her tactical displays, confirmed what the human said. "Sir," she said quietly, "they're not bluffing. Those weapons are active. They wouldn't dare." "Sir, I've analyzed their firing solutions. They've locked onto every single one of our ships, individual targeting. They're not planning a blanket bombardment. They're planning surgical strikes." "How is that possible? The coordination required—" The human voice. "We're really good at computers. Comes from spending 60 years playing video games and arguing on the internet. Build skills." Zekthor stared at the structure. At the weapons. At the 5,000 ships under his command that were suddenly experiencing cascade system failures. At the humans who'd apparently been preparing for this exact scenario. "You're insane," he said. The human, female, Zekthor's translator finally determined, laughed. "We're really not. We're just prepared. Big difference." Across the bridge, Officers were trying to regain control of their systems, not one of them succeeding. The music kept playing, the malware kept replicating, and Earth's moonbase kept its weapons locked on target. Zekthor's confidence, honed over 200 conquests, cracked. You cannot seriously threaten the entire coalition. Watch me, the human said. And in the void of space, the moon, base's weapons hummed with enough power to vaporize a fleet. 5,000 ships, dead in the water. One species, ready to prove exactly what humans did when cornered. Zekthor finally understood the message. They tried peace. Didn't work out. Now everyone was going to meet the other side. The moon base revealed itself in stages. First, the camouflage panels retracted. What looked like lunar surface peeled back like petals on a very angry flower. Underneath, weapons. So many weapons. Mass drivers the size of city blocks. Railguns that could punch through a planet. Particle beam arrays that glowed with barely contained energy. And all of it pointed at the coalition fleet. How? Zekthor said slowly. Did we not detect construction of this magnitude? The human voice, now identified as Commander Reeves, female, Earth Defense Command, responded with audible amusement. Because you were looking for warships. You know, traditional military vessels with obvious weapons and big, scary designs. We didn't build that. We built a Death Star. A what? Zekthor's aide asked. Cultural reference. You wouldn't get it. Point is, that's 200 mass drivers, 50 particle beams, and about 30 other weapon systems we invented specifically for occasions like this. All aimed at your fleet, all powered up, all waiting for me to give the word. You're bluffing. Want to find out? We've got a betting pool going on how many of your ships survive the first volley. Current odds favor less than 12. The coalition fleet erupted into chaos. 38 species, 38 different opinions on what to do. The Relaxi wanted immediate attack. The Quilix wanted immediate retreat. The crystalline beings wanted to study the structure first. The gaseous entities wanted to negotiate. Everyone talked over everyone else. Vresh leaned toward Zekthor. Sir, we should retreat. We outnumber them 5,000 to 1. Sir, they have a weaponized moon. We have 5,000 ships. Reeves's voice cut through the chaos. Yeah, but we've got the high ground. That's not... Zekthor paused. That's not a tactical advantage in space combat, isn't it? Because from where I'm sitting, you're all in weapons range, and we're protected by enough rock and metal to survive a direct nuclear strike. Seems pretty high ground to me. Zekthor opened his mouth to argue, closed it, opened it again. I hate humans, he muttered. Feelings mutual, Reeves said cheerfully. Now, let's talk. The coalition requested formal negotiation. Reeves agreed immediately. Sure, but we're doing it over video call, not risking you trying something clever. We would never... You invaded our planet. You don't get to take the moral high ground. That's ours. Remember? Literally? The video conference began. One human on screen, Reeves, sitting in what looked like a converted command center. Behind her, dozens of other humans at workstations, monitoring the moon base's systems. On the coalition side, 38 species representatives, all trying to fit into frame, all talking at once. Reeves waited. 8 chips, audibly crunched into the microphone. The arguing continued. She ate another chip. Louder crunch. More arguing. Finally, she cleared her throat. You all done? Silence. Great. So here's the situation. You came to conquer us. We said no. Now you're confused because primitives aren't supposed to say no. Questions? Zekthor spoke first. You cannot seriously threaten the entire Galactic Coalition. Watch me. Reeves pointed at something off-screen. Her display split, showing a targeting solution. See that? Railgun number 23. It's aimed at your flagship, specifically your bridge. Even more specifically, at the chair you're sitting in. Zekthor stood up immediately. Doesn't matter, Reeves said. It tracks movement. Sit down. He sat. You're insane, Zekthor said. We're really not. We're just prepared. Big difference. You know what humans are really good at? Worst-case scenario planning. We've been imagining alien invasions since we figured out aliens might exist. You're basically a cliché at this point. High Arbiter Quinn, the gaseous being who'd stayed quiet until now, shimmered forward. Perhaps we can discuss terms of... Terms are simple, Reeves interrupted. Leave. Don't come back. Send a fruit basket as an apology. Something with pears. I like pears. And if we refuse? Quinn asked. Reeves leaned back in her chair, grinned directly at the camera. Then you'll learn why humans are the only species that hunted megafauna to extinction for fun. She cut the feed. Alarms started blaring on Coalition ships. Every single one. What now? Zekthor shouted. His weapons officer checked displays, face paling, or the insectoid equivalent. Sir, the moon base is charging weapons. All of them. Power readings spiked. The moon base lit up like a miniature star, energy coalescing around every weapons port. They're actually going to do it, Vresh whispered. The Coalition fleet fractured. No unified command structure could hold against this kind of threat. Some ships tried to power up weapons. They wouldn't respond. Others tried to flee. Navigation was still locked. A few tried to surrender. Couldn't broadcast on any channel. The humans had complete control. We will not be intimidated by primitives, Zekthor roared, trying to maintain authority. Sir, Vresh said quietly, they've locked weapons on us. On every ship. Individual targeting solutions. If they fire... Every screen in the Coalition fleet went black, then rebooted, displayed a single message. Gotcha. The weapons charge had been fake. The moon base's power readings, manipulated. The targeting locks, theater. All of it designed to create maximum panic while humans uploaded even more malware. Now they had complete control of the Coalition fleet. Not just communications and navigation. Everything. Life support. Gravity, lights, door, locks, even the climate control. One ship's temperature dropped to freezing. Crew scrambling for emergency gear. Another ship's gravity reversed. Everyone on the ceiling now, screaming. A third ship's doors all locked. Crew members trapped in whatever room they'd been in. Reeves came back on comms. So, about those peace talks. Zekthor slumped in his chair. What do you want? Same thing we wanted before you showed up, to be left alone. Is that really so hard to understand? You've hijacked our entire fleet. Borrowed. We borrowed your fleet. There's a difference. Quinn's gaseous form flickered with agitation. This is a war crime. You've disabled military vessels without... Actually, Reeves said, pulling up what looked like a legal document. According to the Galactic Convention on Warfare, Article 32, Subsection 9. Disabling enemy vessels through non-lethal means during an act of self-defense is explicitly permitted. You guys wrote this. We read it. You should try it sometime. That's not what that article means. Sure it is. We had lawyers check. Earth lawyers. They're really good at finding loopholes. Comes from having like 40 different legal systems and 12,000 years of documented law. We've had a lot of practice. This is absurd, Zekthor said. This is customer service, Reeves corrected. You came to our house, threatened our planet. We're just helping you find the exit. She pressed a button. Every Coalition ship shuddered. Engines engaged, not Coalition engines. Human override codes forcing them online. Every ship started moving. Away from Earth. Accelerating. Fast. What are you doing? Zekthor demanded. Sending you home, via the scenic route. Should take about 6 months. We've plotted a course that avoids all major shipping lanes, keeps you away from inhabited systems, and gives you plenty of time to think about your life choices. 6 months? Could make it longer if you prefer. You can't. We absolutely can. And are. Currently. Right now, in fact. Vresh checked navigation. Confirmed what Reeves said. Course set. Locked. Accelerating to speeds that would make any course correction impossible for weeks. We'll starve, someone shouted from another ship. No, you won't, Reeves said. We've calculated your supplies. You've got plenty. Might get boring, but you'll survive. We even programmed some entertainment into your systems. Earth movies, mostly. You're welcome. This is kidnapping. This is an escort service. We're ensuring you leave safely. It's very thoughtful if you think about it. Zekthor stared at his screens, at the locked navigation, at Earth shrinking in his rear cameras, at the moon base, still bristling with weapons, still perfectly capable of destroying them all. Why? He asked quietly. Why not just destroy us? Reeves's expression softened. Just slightly. Because that's not who we are. Not anymore anyway. We've done the war thing. Been there, killed that, got the nightmare fuel. We prefer boring now. Boring is underrated. She leaned forward. But don't mistake boring for weak. We're only peaceful because we choose to be. And we're only letting you live because you gave us the option. Next species that shows up without an invitation might not be so lucky. The feed cut. The Coalition fleet continued accelerating away from Earth. 6 months. 6 months to think about how they'd been beaten by a species without a single warship. By hackers and engineers and people who'd watched too many movies. By humans who'd built a Death Star and pretended it was still a moon. Zekthor sat in his locked chair in his hijacked ship, heading home the slow way. I really hate humans, he said. From the speakers, because the humans were still in the system. Reeves's voice. We know. Everyone does it first. You'll get over it. The music started playing again. Still too loud. Still couldn't turn it off. 6 months of this. Zekthor closed his eyes and wondered if the humans would accept a fruit basket. Day 1 of 6 months. The Coalition fleet drifted through space on autopilot, completely locked out of their own controls. They couldn't change course, couldn't contact their homeworlds, couldn't even adjust the thermostat. But they could receive messages from Earth. And Earth had a lot to say. Good morning, galactic invaders. This is day 1 of your trip home. The voice was cheerful, too cheerful. Belonged to a human woman who introduced herself as Shannon from Outreach. We thought you might be bored, so we've prepared a 6-month cultural exchange program. Today's topic, Earth's greatest hits. We're starting with agriculture. Zekthor sat in his quarters, mandibles clenched, listening to Shannon explain the history of wheat cultivation. In excruciating detail. Day 2. A different human. Male. Explained human music evolution from drums to dubstep. Day 3. Another human. Gave a ship tour. This is the mess hall where you eat. Notice how the chairs are designed for your species? We looked that up. You're welcome. Day 4. Earth history. This is the part where we invented nuclear weapons and didn't immediately destroy ourselves. Shocking, we know. We got close a few times. Want to hear about the Cuban Missile Crisis? The broadcast continued. Daily. Unavoidable. Some crew members started looking forward to them. Vresh visited Zekthor's quarters on day 15. Sir, the humans sent a care package. What? Supplies, food, medicine, entertainment materials. Delivered via drone to each ship. They've been tracking our provisions and noticed we're running low on certain items. Zekthor stared at the package on his desk. Inside, nutrient supplements tailored to insectoid biology. Medical supplies. Something labeled stress relief reading material, which appeared to be Earth comic books. And a note. No hard feelings. Here's some snacks. Earth. They're mocking us, Zekthor said. Sir, I think they're helping us. Why would they help us? We tried to invade them. Vresh didn't have an answer. Day 32 brought a different kind of broadcast. Commander Reeves returned. Not with jokes this time. You want to know when we started building the moon base? She pulled up a timeline. Construction dates. Project milestones. 50 years ago. Construction began 50 years ago. Zekthor's bridge crew gathered to watch. First contact with alien life happened 12 years ago. We started building this 38 years before that, long before we knew any of you existed. The timeline expanded, showed orbital platforms around Mars, asteroid mining facilities with hidden weapons, AI defense networks spanning the solar system. All classified. All invisible to outside observation. All ready. We've been preparing for hostile first contact since we figured out space travel was possible. Since we realized that if we could reach the stars, someone else could too. And maybe they wouldn't be friendly. On High Arbiter Quinn's ship, he watched with his aide. "They built all this," Quinn whispered, "without knowing we existed?" "They built it assuming someone would eventually try to invade," his aide replied. "What kind of species does that?" Reeves on screen, somehow picking up their conversation through the hijacked systems, responded directly. "One that studies history. We've been invaded before. By ourselves. Humans invading other humans. Conquering. Colonizing. Destroying. We learned from it. Learned that someone's always going to try. So we prepared." She showed more footage. World War I, World War II, colonial conflicts, Cold War standoffs. "We almost destroyed ourselves 32 different times. Nuclear near misses, environmental collapse scenarios, AI systems going rogue, pandemics, asteroids we almost missed, solar flares that could have fried everything." The Coalition crews watched in silence. "We survived because we learned one thing. Peace is a choice you make every single day. And some days, you back up that choice with the biggest stick you can build." Day 68. The fleet was approaching Coalition space. Finally, crew members preparing for arrival. Relief spreading through every ship. They'd survived. Humiliated, but alive. Then the course changed. Not toward Coalition homeworlds. Toward the neutral zone. Demilitarized space. Buffer zone between territories. "What now?" Zekthor shouted at his locked console. A new broadcast began. Not Commander Reeves. An elderly human man. Male. Military uniform covered in medals that predated most Coalition species membership. White hair. Weathered face. Eyes that had seen things. "This is Admiral Grant. I was there when we decided to build the moon base. Thought you deserved to know why." The image shifted. Earth. Pre-space age. Pre-unification. Grainy footage from human history. Wars. So many wars. Humans almost destroyed ourselves 32 times. 32 different ways we almost ended. Everything. Nuclear missiles launching, stopped at the last second. Environmental disasters, barely averted. AI systems achieving consciousness, negotiated with instead of destroyed. Each time we had a choice, destroy everything or find another way. Each time we chose survival. Barely. By the skin of our teeth. By sheer stubborn refusal to die. Grant's face filled the screen. "We survived because we learned that peace isn't weakness. Peace is choosing not to use the weapons you absolutely could use. Every single day making that choice." The fleet continued toward the neutral zone. Coordinates locked. Destination confirmed. And some days, you back up that choice with the biggest stick you can build. So when someone tries to take that choice away from you, you can show them exactly why that's a bad idea. The neutral zone appeared on sensors, and there, floating in the diplomatic buffer between territories, was a structure. Massive, modular, clearly human-built, but incorporating Coalition architectural styles. A space station, bigger than most planetary cities. "You're not going home yet," Grant said. "You're going here. This is the Olive Branch. Built it while you weren't looking. Started construction 40 years ago. Finished it last year. Been operating in secret ever since." The station came into focus. Ships docked at it. Both human and Coalition vessels. People visible through windows. Working together. Multiple species side by side. Staffed by people from your worlds. The ones who defected. The ones who asked for asylum. The ones who disagreed with the Coalition's expansion policies. We gave them a home. Gave them a chance to build something better. Zekthor's blood went cold. "How many?" he asked the empty air. Grant answered anyway. "Approximately 50,000 Coalition citizens. From all 38 member species, they're going to teach you what we learned." "Teach us what?" Zekthor demanded. Grant smiled. It wasn't a cruel smile, just tired. "How to not be assholes." The Coalition fleet began docking procedures. Automated, controlled by the station. Airlocks aligned, docking clamps engaged. Crew members ordered to disembark for diplomatic processing. Zekthor walked down his ship's ramp into the Olive Branch. The first person he saw was another insectoid. His species, his homeworld, his clan. Wearing a station uniform with Earth insignia. "Commander Zekthor," the defector said. "Welcome." I'm Administrator Tekshir. I left the Coalition 6 years ago. Been living here ever since. Learning, growing, surviving. You're a traitor, Zekthor said. I'm a teacher, Tekshir replied, and you've got a lot to learn. Around them, thousands of Coalition crew members disembarked, met by thousands of defectors, all wearing station uniforms, all with the same message: we tried your way. We found a better one. In a conference room visible through windows, Admiral Grant stood with human staff and Coalition advisors, all species, all working together, planning, organizing, coordinating, building something new. Vresh found Zekthor. Sir, they're separating us into groups, assigning guides, preparing orientation. Orientation for what? Sir, I think they're going to show us everything. Everything we did wrong. Everything they do differently. Everything we need to change. Zekthor looked at the station, at the defectors, at the humans who'd built this place in secret, at the species he'd tried to conquer, now teaching him how to survive. 6 months, he said. We've been traveling 6 months. Yes, sir. They were teaching us the entire time. Yes, sir. And now they're going to teach us more. I believe so, sir. Zekthor's mandibles clicked. Not with anger. With something else. Understanding, maybe. Or the beginning of it. They really did try peace first, he said quietly. Yes, sir. We just didn't listen. In the conference room, Admiral Grant watched the Coalition crews entering the station. Think they'll learn? Commander Reeves asked, standing beside him. Some of them. The smart ones. And the others? Grant pulled up a display. Showed 15 other hidden defense systems around human-controlled space. Weapons platforms. Automated defense grids. Things the Coalition still didn't know about. We've got options, he said. Reeves smiled. Outside, the olive branch continued its work. Teaching, sharing, showing another way. And if that didn't work, Earth had plenty of backup plans. They'd learn to hope for the best, but always, always prepare for the worst. The olive branch wasn't just a station. It was a statement. Coalition officers walked through halls displaying human history. Not sanitized, not propaganda, everything. One room, WWI trenches, WW2A death camps, nuclear bomb detonations. Next room, UN founding, International Space Station, climate accords. Dr. Yuki Tanaka taught the mandatory course. Female, Japanese, cheerful in a way that made everyone nervous. Welcome to Human History 101. Today, why we're weird about warfare. She showed statistics. Military spending that dwarfed entire planetary economies. Weapons that could sterilize continents. Coalition students looked horrified. Now the fun part, Tanaka said. We haven't had a planet-wide war in 80 years. Showed Earth's unified government, shared resources, cooperative space program. We got really good at war, then we got better at not war. Zekthor raised a hand. How? Spite, mostly. Someone said we'd destroy ourselves. We said, watch this, and didn't. 6 months later, Zekthor stood before the Coalition Council, 200 species watching. We should never have assumed they were primitive, he said. Showed the moon base, the cyber warfare, the hidden defenses. But that's not what concerns me most. They're not just powerful, they're convincing. 50,000 of our citizens defected, chose to stay, to learn from them. Council member. Convincing of what? That their way works. Cooperation and preparation aren't mutually exclusive. He recommended formal diplomacy, trade, cultural exchange. Because if we don't, someone else will, and humans don't forget who threatened them. The vote. Unanimous for peace. On Earth, Commander Reeves watched the broadcast. Admiral Grant beside her. Think they learned? Some of them. And the others? She pulled up hidden defense systems. 15 more the Coalition didn't know about. We've got options. In Coalition chambers, a junior aide whispered to High Arbiter Quinn. Should we have just left them alone? Yes, but we're lucky we didn't. They showed mercy. Next species might not be so fortunate. Why not? Because Earth taught the galaxy a lesson. Humans are terrifying when trying to kill you, but somehow more terrifying when trying to save you. Across the galaxy, 12 species quietly canceled invasion plans. Earth's response appeared on their communication channels simultaneously. We know. Thanks for not being stupid. Commander Reeves leaned back in her chair, watching the diplomatic channels light up with trade requests. We tried peace, she said. Admiral Grant smiled. And when that didn't work, we showed them the other side. And if that doesn't work? Reeves pulled up another display. 20 more hidden projects, weapons they hadn't needed yet. Then we show them why Earth is still here after surviving ourselves. The moon base powered down. Weapons locked, but ready. Waiting. Always waiting. Because humans had learned one thing from their bloody history. Hope for peace, but prepare for everything else. The galaxy was learning the same lesson now. Some faster than others.